Welcome to Point Blank, brought to you by Fitz Roofing. I'm Brandon Strange, Sports Map. That's Joel Blank of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. If you haven't yet, please hit subscribe on the channel. We do appreciate the support. Joel, welcome in. That Astros-Dodgers series is over and done. It lived up to every bit of the billing. I think the media certainly played their part to stoke the fires of this rivalry, but after several instances of violence in the stands with fans and other fan behavior, it has many observers asking to what extent the media is responsible for inciting fans. For example, LA Times columnist Bill Plaschke wrote a piece about the Astros following Game 1 in which he used statistics that were categorically false. Several Houston media members were quick to debunk his information, but neither he nor the Times have issued a retraction at the time of this recording, and that's assumedly because it's an opinion column, which in today's media is viewed as more as entertainment. So Joel, you're a media member. You do opinion-based content with me every week as well as on air. How much responsibility do you think the media has for inciting this type of violence?
I think quite a bit, Brandon, but I think it's the difference between how much will they accept and own up to and how much are they really responsible for. Because we think about this. John Boy created a buzzer scenario that became a nationwide phenomenon, that became a realistic thing that baseball had to investigate. Reporters can say whatever they want, true or false, and create a narrative that get people to jump on board and not just act, but react to what they've said, and sometimes do stupid things like you've said in terms of fighting with other fan bases. Like what they go out and do is going to have any effect one way or another on the team, the sport, or the athletes involved. And Plaschke's just another example of the Jeff Passons of the world, or the reporters that are out there that decide, Adam Schefter for that matter, on draft night when he decided to say Aaron Rodgers wanted to trade, and then later had to say, I didn't have any information or a source that told me it was that way. I just concluded that was the case. And look what it did. It got clicks. It got a lot of attention. It created a firestorm. But they don't realize it goes further than that. And people are actually, in some cases, getting seriously hurt because of the reactions to what they've put out there.
Well, I do want to differentiate Plaschke from Passan, even though I'm not necessarily a fan of Passan. At least Passan's on the record as saying the buzzers is not a true thing. Plaschke, on the other hand, is just leading with factually incorrect stuff. And so I do want to make that differentiation. But I want to get to some of these comments Joey Votto has made about the Astros. But before we get to those comments, tell us about Fitz Roofing.
We love Fitz Roofing. They're dedicated to the people of Houston, Texas, and they're legit in everything that they do. They can repair your roof on your house or your business, or put a whole new roof on the building. They can also do home repairs and put a fence in your yard. And the best thing is they have the best ratings in the business, the best warranties in the business. They're the best to do it in Houston. Check them out today, fitzroofing.com, but better yet, call them 832-521-3001. Free, no obligation inspection. Costs you nothing. They come to you. They tell you what they can do. Fitz Roofing, making a difference, one home at a time.
So Joey Votto was on with Dan Patrick, and he was talking about the sign stealing scandal in the Astros, and Dan asked him, do you think it's time we just let this go? I love Joey Votto's comments here. Here's what he had to say.
Do we move on from the Astros booing?
Yeah. And there's no question about it. The idea that they were the only one doing something wrong just baffles me. But, I agree with you completely.
But if Altuve gets to first base?
Yes. Very fond of him. I like him a lot.
What kind of conversation do you have?
I've had lots of conversations with him. We talk about hitting almost entirely.
But no garbage can mentions. Like you can't even have a little subtle dig, can you?
No, because he came out and said that, he he had no part in it. And I have to believe a person based on, I'm assuming he's telling the truth, so I'm going to believe him, and then we move on from there.
So, Joel, this is the first time that I've seen an active player acknowledge the likelihood of widespread cheating in baseball. He's not saying it, but he's saying it, right? How big of a splash of cold water is this sort of narrative to the fans who only think the Astros cheated? And could this be the beginning of more players coming forward?
You can only hope so, Brandon. You and I have talked about this. I said it might be 10 years down the line when guys are no longer in the league and it can't damage their opportunities to make money out, as they leave the game of baseball, to where the truth comes out. But now Joey Votto could be the first step following up a recently retired player in Eric Kratz. And also, remember now, this is Ryan Spader all over again. But the funny thing was, the minute it came out of Votto's mouth, Spader tweeted, vindicated, which means he wasn't taking back all the things that he said. He walked it back to save his ability to make money and get attention and exposure as a baseball writer and analyst. Otherwise, he would still be standing on that mountain. You can't just blame one team and a few players for everything that's going on. And if more players come to the forefront and back up Spader's stories and other stories and go and look, they did it, this team did it, they were doing it, and it isn't just the Astros on an island all by themselves.
How important are Votto's comments about Altuve? Because he's differentiating Altuve from the rest of the team and saying, Altuve wasn't cheating. How important is that narrative? Because right now, to this point, Altuve is the face of the Astros sign-stealing scandal. And here's Votto saying, hey, I don't hold it against Altuve.
He also said he's a hell of a hitter. He also said a lot of other positive things about a guy that is a Hall of Fame second baseman. It's important individually for Jose Altuve because to get into the Hall of Fame, that's the kind of backing he needs from the players that know because they live it on a daily basis. Jose Altuve is one of the best hitters in baseball. Jose Altuve is going to be going down in history as one of the greatest Astros in the history of the franchise. And that's what needs to be real. He's still doing it on a daily basis. This is one of the best players to play the game of baseball.